if you follow my channel, you'll know it's been a long time since I've reviewed a penknife. It's probably, must be getting on for a year or two since I've reviewed a penknife. And that's simply because I haven't been buying them. I still do look at the forums, Edge Matters in the UK in particular, but nothing had caught my eye until the other day I spotted this, the new UKPK from SPYDERCO on Edge Matters, and it got me thinking I should try this out. So this is a version of the UKPK which has been branded and marketed exclusively through the UK retailer Heinnie Haynes. It is in their special red colourway, so exclusively available through Heinnie Haynes. A little bit of literature in here explaining sort of the background of the model, its design, the fact that it belongs within the Clip It range, which were the first range to feature the pocket clips that Spyderco are now famous for, and then their offshoot of the Slip It models, which include other UK-friendly slip joint models like the Urban and the Pingo, which is designed by the Danish makers Jasper Voxnaes and Jens Anzo, if I'm getting those names right, probably not. But yeah, the UKPK was one of the first slip-its which really set things going, and the idea behind it was really to find a UK-friendly or world-friendly penknife design. And for the UK, your penknife, if you're going to carry it day to day, needs to be a slip joint, so non-locking, and the blade, the sharp edge of the blade needs to be under 3 inches. And the UK PK has always been designed to meet that specification. Indeed, the name UKPK, United Kingdom penknife, gives it away somewhat. Now, a few years ago, I did pick up the DK PK, which is the Denmark-friendly edition, which means that you can't have a one-handed opening feature. So it didn't come with the famous Spidey hole here. It just came with a very, very small hole which you couldn't get your thumb into to open it. And actually, it came with a slightly nicer profile on the, or a slightly different profile on the leaf-shaped blade, which I thought was quite nice actually. But that's the story behind the UKPK. Now, this version, as I say, it comes in special colourway for Heinnie Haynes. It's got a little bit tiny branding there, just a tiny little H, which I think's quite nice, quite tasteful. Some of the branding on there, sort of exclusives, have been a little bit more in your face, and I prefer it a little bit subtle. We'll come in for some close-ups in a minute and get a proper look at this, but just walking around this knife, what makes it special? Well, it's got in particular, it's got a G10 handle, scales here. G10 is a very well-known synthetic material in knife making, and this is a peel ply, and this basically just comes with an inherent texture. It's not had to be sort of milled in any way. It's just got this really nice grippy texture built into its surface. It's very, very solid, very, very robust. Other additions, most of the other Slip It range come with this fibre reinforced nylon moulded handle, which are pretty nice. They've just got that little bit more flex maybe, and they're sort of moulded, but that allows sort of branding like that, Spyderco, Spider in there, but not quite as much grip as on the peel ply. So that's a really nice addition, very, very solid handle material, and something typically sort of saved for slightly more costly knives. So you've got a nice handle, you've got a pretty strong back spring, and one of the features of this back spring is that rather than being a simple single piece of metal which sort of pops up as you sort of move it open, this is actually almost a tuning fork shape. Years ago I took one of these apart and showed it, but basically there's 2 strands to it, and only one of them is moving. The outer edge forming the spine allows for a nice consistent line on the spine, keeping it nice and tidy. Obviously, hex head construction, so you can take this all apart if you want. There's nothing really user serviceable in here, but should you really want to clean it or service it, you can take it apart. You obviously take the pocket clip off, move it one side to the other. Only tip up carry, which to be honest is my preferred carry. I think it's just the fact you can reach in, get it out of your pocket, and your thumb is already orientated to open it with ease. Most people do prefer tip up carry, but that is the only option on this knife. But you can flip it left or right depending on which pocket you might carry it in, or indeed take the clip off altogether. Probably in the UK we're a little bit nervous about clipping the knives in a way which would be visible, so you're having that bit poking out your pocket. I guess it might raise some eyebrows. I don't want to have a discussion with anyone about a knife in my pocket, to be honest, in the UK, but that's maybe just me. Moving on, obviously you've got nice leaf-shaped blade, a shape which is, you know, absolutely exclusive to Spyderco and comes from the one-handed opening Spidey hole. Always have this sort of leaf shape, sort of fundamental blade shape. Always allows, or typically Spyderco's allow for a nice thumb ramp, so you've got somewhere for your thumb to go. And equally on a slip joint knife, I particularly like having somewhere for my forefinger to go, and having your forefinger there means that you're not wholly reliant on the spring, the back spring, to stop it closing on your hand. Having said that, there's a fairly good half stop there, and it's a fairly stiff back spring, but to be honest, there's nothing that can stop your knife closing like a good finger troll like that. You really can't do it. Jimping front and back there, always nice to have a little bit of grip in there. Of course, a full flat grind, and if you've watched my previous videos, huge fan of full flat grinds. I think that is, to be honest, the way to go. My enthusiasm for full flat grinds comes from the fact that it's good for slicing, so if you're cutting through vegetables or anything else really, you're not going to wedge it into the full spine thickness sort of halfway up, as your sort of hollow grind might come to an end. And I just think it's just nice and slicey. It looks good, nice and clean, no additional lines. I just think it's to be honest, unless you need a huge amount of strength on your spine where you might benefit from extra material from the halfway point, a full flat grind has got to be the way to go. But that's just me. It comes in CPM S30V, which is a very respectable steel. I think it used to be considered one of the super steels, but as time's gone on and they've come up with even stronger, harder steels, it's become a very standard but well-respected steel. This is actually made in the USA, which is nice, Colorado. The previous or most recent UKPKs were being made in Mantiago, the most recent Slippets were being made in Mantiago, Italy. And because of that, they were coming in slightly different steels. So this one's an LMAX, and this one's the Boller N690C. All great steels, and to be honest, the sort of usage one puts to your pocket knife day to day, any of these are more than you possibly need. Main thing is knowing how to sharpen them when that time comes. So yeah, we'll come in for a few close-ups, just thinking about how this fits in the hand. Nice full four-fingered grips. Now I'd sort of be a medium to large glove size, and there's plenty of room on there for me. Spyderco are always great with the ergonomics, because even with a much shorter, stubbier knife like this Pingo, it always just works in the hand. Looks rather strange, works in the hand, it's always a way. The Urban as well, shorter scales, shorter handle, but again, works very nicely. So Spyderco do tend to get the ergonomics right. They're driven by ergonomics. That's why some of their knives look a little bit unusual. But yeah, we'll come in for a few close-ups, and then we'll for a few close-ups here. You can see the knife folded, as I say, hex true construction, pocket clip, reversible to either side there. Nice clean brush spine, peel ply texture, just to give it that sort of inherent grip, and easy one-handed opening. Very clean edge. Nice bit of jimping front and back there. Not much going on inside. Nicely rounded edges. A little bit of branding. And metal type on the other side, Sal Glasses signature, and made in Colorado. Always like to see a little sharpening notch, but Spyderco never seemed to do it. But perfectly easy to sharpen these blades. The back spring, as I say, is a tuning fork sort of style arrangement. You can just see the outer spine there, which isn't a functioning back spring, and that just extra little bit of metal in there, which does just catch the half stop and then lock it in place. Well, that pretty much brings us to the end of the video. One thing I didn't mention earlier is the edge. Spyderco always nails it with the edges in my experience. Now they're not mirror polished, they've got a slight grit pattern in them, but they've always got a nice amount of tooth in them to use them to make them practically sharp, make them useful day to day, and I've never found a bad edge on a Spyderco. Quick paper test cut in a minute. If there's any doubt in my voice on that, it's down to my own abilities and the abilities of the knife. If anything's going to go wrong on camera, it's always a paper cut test. But this is a truly sharp knife, and Spyderco I trust in every respect on that. Right, okay, so that brings us to the end of the video. If you haven't seen my channel before, please check it out. As I say, knives have been a feature on here before. There's a playlist if you want to check out what I've looked at before. Always picked up knives off Heine Haynes in the UK. Always found them to be a speedy and reliable distributor with a very good range. Obviously, as I say, not been buying many knives in recent months or years in fact, but we might share some other common interests. So I also cover boots and denim, other elements of everyday carry such as fountain pens, and really I'd just like to share any of my hobbies on there. So a bit of biking, bit of guitar, running. Check it out, might share some other common interests. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. I'll put a link to where you can currently pick these up below. As I say, this is a special edition for Heine Haynes, and I don't know whether they'll carry it forever, but certainly I'll put the link where it's currently available. Okay, well that's about it. Thank you very much. Bye bye.